Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session on culture and how it impacts your med spa's bottom line. Today, we have a surprise for you, but first, let's explore what makes your med spa unique and how to foster a thriving environment. All right, so you have to think of culture like a garden. It has to be watered, it has to be nurtured in order to enhance the beauty and the growth. Your med spa is the exact same. So some things to think about: you need to prioritize innovation, collaboration, continuous growth, grounded in respect, integrity, and excellence. So with that, we have to be transparent, we have to be honest, kind, we have to have high standards. All of these things are going to be essential. Another thing you really want to focus on in culture creation within your med spa is inclusion. That is going to be vital. Celebrating all the opinions in your med spa and helping the growth to just grow and grow and grow when you include everyone and make them feel welcome. So our leaders are also going to be super important in this because they are going to embody the values through regular communication, open door policies, and active participation. So we want to make sure that our culture is lived daily. So that's what's going to happen. That's what's needed to happen to have really great culture within your med spa. But what happens when you don't have these things? What happens when you lack culture, right? You have low morale, you have high turnover, poor performance. I have a med spa that I worked with, and we kind of dove into their culture and took a deep dive into their employee satisfaction through surveys and feedback. And it was really telling that the providers felt they didn't feel recognized. They didn't feel encouraged. They didn't feel the things that would make them want to strive for more. They didn't feel heard. And there are all of these things that we started to develop and started to work on. We really are starting to see that turnover rate go down, that commitment, that loyalty that you really want to foster when you have a strong culture in your med spa, because it is vital to your success. And when you increase this employee satisfaction, loyalty, and overall leadership within your business, you're going to see that really low turnover rate, but you're going to see the results of this med spa that I've been working with, who I adore. And they're going to talk to you a little bit more about culture and how it has really given them more success in their med spa. But first, I want to give you 6 key things to think about as you think about it. What type of culture do I have in my med spa, and how can I increase it? How can I make it better? The first one is going to be support, right? What support do you offer your employees? What benefits do you offer your employees? It's like watering your garden, right? It has to have water to grow. So do you offer benefits, right? Do you offer treatments, discounts, wellness programs, flexible work environments? These things are really important to loyalty and commitment into your culture and your med spa. Leadership. Do you have team leads? Do you have an experienced practice manager? Are you living your culture? Are you teaching your team leads to do this? Because decision making is really important to be collaborative and transparent, to make everyone feel inclusive or included, and that creates collective wisdom, and the decision-making process is going to evolve, and that's going to go on multi-levels of your med spa, right? So this is not only going to build trust, but it's going to create a more involved solution to the problems that you always come upon, right? In a med spa, we have these things happen. Thirdly, collaboration, team building opportunities. This is going to be an instrumental part of getting those results that you want. When you foster teamwork through, I like to think of it as cross-departmentally, right? Does your estheticians work with your injectors? Does your wellness team work with your front desk? Is leadership actively engaged with your team members? And having these projects that are interdepartmental, crossing lines and working together so that it connects us seamlessly. So regular team building activities are really great. I like to have those monthly, and that's going to help strengthen our bonds. Something that I really love is Staff Service Day. where we block off some time, we work on each other, we get content, we get photo content, we do social media, we also audit treatments. There's a lot that can be done there, and everybody's working together to develop these things. 4, recognition. Do you give those atta girls, right? Do you have your weekly contests? Do you recognize and encourage growth? Remember, and blossoming of those flowers within your garden. You have to celebrate achievements. So awards, weekly contests, shout outs at those daily huddles, saying, not just in revenue, but across the board. What are they really, what are they succeeding at? That's really important. So annual excellence awards. I talked about this at a training I did last week. I like I used to do the Babbies, where I would give out these awards every December to my team members and recognize their really amazing achievement at our yearly end review. So just keeping it fun, but also keeping the recognition going. We tend to focus a lot on the negativity and what's not going right, as opposed to what really is. 5, the feedback loop. Meetings, daily huddles, team surveys, one-to-one. You want to ensure that your team members feel heard and valued. I cannot stress this enough. This is fundamental in your culture. So are you conducting those regular meetings? Are you having your one-to-one sessions where feedback is encouraged and then acted upon, right? Not just heard, but having an open door policy where every voice is able to be heard and input into the journey to move forward. So if you're not having your yearly reviews, your monthly one-to-ones, your daily huddles, you're not sending out those employee surveys, you really want to start doing that to gather that information so that your employees feel valued. And the last thing, number 6, is team training. Are you continuously feeding your garden? Think about it as the fertilizer for your med spa, right? Extensive training programs, leadership development courses. Do you reimburse their conferences? Do you require that they do continuing education? So really looking at, do you have a continuing education policy or a training policy? Those are all things that are really going to help foster that culture of commitment within your med spa. And having said all this, I learned a lot of this from this woman. She is amazing. She is a certified aesthetic nurse specialist. She founded the Aesthetic Society. She has over a decade in the industry, and she focuses on medical aesthetics and is proficient in a variety of laser treatments. She is nationally recognized and an advanced injectable trainer in facilitating training on multiple companies. I can't say enough great things about her. I am happy to call her my colleague, but also my friend, Miss Alicia Baker. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on. Abby, I don't know what more I can add. You've literally showed us everything that we know.
That's
It's true. It's truly amazing to be part of this, but culture is something that, we definitely tailored together. It's one of those things that you can't ask for more with your team, but you have to do and get everybody's involvement in culture. Since 2005, I've been in the aesthetic space, from plastic surgeon's office, med spas, all over. And that's one of the biggest things that I can say is missing is the culture. And you have to get a voice from everyone. I think the staff surveys and the morning huddles are the best for us because it allows everybody to be on the same page, celebrate the wins, give yada boys, and also talk about patients coming in, what we need to do to celebrate that culture and just hone in on that communication. So I think all of those things are vital. Growing the Aesthetic Society, that's really what I wanted it to be about, is all about a team. You will not see a magazine out without my team because it takes a village. Patients need to feel like when they walk through the door that they have love from the start to finish. And so that's really what we focus on, is mainly our culture. I'm big on education. I'm a trainer for pharmaceutical companies, also for N-mode lasers. And it's one of those biggest things that I talk about is just culture and having everybody's involvement. And like I said, everybody feels like that they need a voice.
So how are decisions made, like in your organization? Like, how do you come about whenever you have a situation or problem? Like, what do you do within your culture to make sure that everybody feels heard and included?
Yeah, so the chain of command is really important. Abby and Diamond Accelerator really helped us with this because I felt like I was so many hats and, so many things. But doing a chain of command and having someone, that can answer those questions, but also getting everybody's voice involved because it's not just one thing. It takes the front desk and the technician that was working on it, and then coming to me and how would I handle the situation. So if we have any type of problems, or anything that's happening, it's really collaborative. And that was one of your things. You have to have unity.
Yeah, well, okay. So can you share with me examples of how your company recognizes employee contributions and rewards?
Absolutely. So we do staff days, we do staff recognition. I always have our reps just kind of help us with different things so they feel like that they're treated, so they can experience the treatments themselves. We do the same things. We do certificates. Everybody has a, cute name. Molly's cute name is Dumps Like a Truck because she has such a cute hiney now because of all her sculptra. And also another thing that we do is we do have the walkie-talkies. So the Motorola walkie-talkies, that's how we communicate through the spa, and it really helps keep patients all together and everybody feels like they're on the same page all day at work.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Communication is key, right? Like in keeping everyone together and like everything moving so that we're maximizing and squeezing that lemon, which I always like to talk about.
And it's the
Um,
two C's. It's the collaboration and communication. And those things just go in together. And so the walkie-talkies have really been great for us.
I love that. So what steps do you like what steps do you do with education and training? Because I know that's super important to you. And so what are some things that you require of your employees and what are some things that you do to make sure that they are continuing to be watered and grow?
Yes, I love this question because education is key in our industry, especially in medical aesthetics. Like every minute, everything is changing all the time. New products are coming out, or they're changing the technique or dilution on something. And so, my big thing is involvement. So we have a group, system off of Asana, which you taught us, and the system off of Asana basically shows what trainings are coming up, what cadaver labs are coming up. Which ones that the company will pay for, which ones that can be done on their own. But every single training that I have, private training or open training, injectors are invited. So anybody underneath the Aesthetic Society, they're all invited to everything. So everything is collaborative. They can join in a Rivance, they can join in an InMode training if they want to learn more on collagen pen or anything they want to learn more on, they're invited to all of it.
And I know that you developed some continuing education and some training programs for, if you're onboarding an employee that doesn't have the training necessary and offering that pathway to become an injector, to become a medical esthetician or in wellness, you've offered those and also continuing education. So can you talk a little bit more about that and what that looks like at the Aesthetic Society?
It's really like tiered buckets. So sometimes, especially when I first started, way back in 2005, and they didn't have any training. Like training wasn't a big deal. You just got a one day, you're good to go. And I really think it's important to tier people up so you're not like water hosing them with information in the beginning. So taking those really, small little chunks and, biting the elephant one at a time. And so taking those small little chunks of things. So whether it's a novice class and then working up your way to like lower talks or advanced treatments, things like that. So we do basically like tiered buckets where they move themselves up. And then that's a lot easier to take that information in. A good feedback that I got from one of my employees, she said, we sent her to a cadaver lab right out of the gate. And she was like, it was just too much for me right in the beginning. She hadn't even started training on neurotoxins or anything yet. And so I took that feedback in and I said, okay, that makes more sense. Let me tier these down. So let's start with our novice injecting and then let's go up to our advanced and then send her to a cadaver lab course. So now we have it dissected into buckets for our new staff.
Oh, wow, that's brilliant. That's so perfect. It wouldn't be a talk with you about culture in your team without like, obviously you love your team, and, having a practice manager on site has been really beneficial to you because you would just give them everything. But outside of training and treatments and that, like, what is it that what initiatives does your company do to really support your employee well-being?
So my employee well-being, I'm kind of one of those that I could do everything pro bono. I'm a yes man, so it kind of terrible sometimes. But I just think taking the survey in the beginning of what really helps them and then dissecting that down. So one, that the company didn't feel like that it was giving, the whole tree away, but also that it was like, what's really going to make this person rock and roll? What's going to make them feel good? And it's different for everyone. And I think once you start figuring that out about your staff, then that makes you an even better leader. So some person, they might love praise, that one person might love gifts, so it's different for everyone. And I just took that information. Also, key point, which is a lot of fun, I made all my staff do their love language quizzes, because not only is that going to help you in your life and your personal life, but it's also going to help you at work, because then you learn how to love the other person, and it all feeds back. And I could definitely see the garden growing when we did the love language quiz.
That's so good. I love that. I love learning more about your team, because as a manager, you definitely can't treat every team member the same, right? They're going to react differently, and making sure that they feel included. All right. So where did you get all this information? Like, what resource groups are you in? Affinity networks? Like, is there anything where people can go to learn more about this? I mean, that you've really seen that's beneficial?
Yeah, that's a great question, Abby. I mean, as you know, I think it just builds on, from just learning different places that you've been, learning the pros, the cons, the different things that you've been. I'm a great resource. You can email me anytime. Also, just call the office if you need to speak with me. And so I can give that information out to you guys. I think, just really doing like the AmSpa leadership boot camp really helps. I think it helps your practice manager just kind of get an understanding of what they need to do, but also just paying for continuing education, pay to talk to people, in a room that you want to be in. We do group things for injectors all the time, and I talk about business and how to grow and do it, and how culture works in my business as well.
So if you had one word to describe, well, maybe not one word, because that might be hard, but
I was going to say that's hard.
How would you describe the culture in your med spa right now? Like, what would be, you've put all of these policies in place, you've added all of this love, and you've nurtured and watered, and how would you describe it right now within the Aesthetic Society?
Oh man, Abby, that's super hard. That's a really tough one. But if I had to say one word, it would be more like phenomenally dynamic. Like, phenomenal is one of my favorite words. I love that. I probably overuse it. But dynamic, as you have to be fluid. You have to flow with things as they change. You can't just be so stuck in your ways like concrete, because this business is different and every single patient is not cookie cutter. So you have to be fluid. But I think the word phenomenal would be my favorite. I really have a phenomenal dream team. I'm blessed that they stick by my side. They deal with my crazy, but culture is the most important thing to me. And I would also say to any owners that are on here, or practice managers, definitely, hire slow and fire fast. If you have any culture killers, get them out.
I love that advice, right? Like, it's hard sometimes to take that step, but it truly is like the step that needs to be taken in order to build the team, so that we're able to move faster. And working with your team, I have to say, like, I get it. Like, they are phenomenal. And we called our team meeting our dream team meeting, right? Our team leads that we had and we met with every week, because it truly is a dream team. And it's been a pleasure, like working with them and seeing it and getting to experience how that culture works and feeling that loyalty and commitment. And so what do you think, and this is really going to put you on the spot, working with me as your consultant, like, how has that impacted your business, and did that impact your culture in your med spa? I mean, let's be honest, at first it was a rough road, right? Like, who is this girl? But I think it came out in the end.
Oh my gosh, it was truly amazing. It just got me to the point that I was like, okay, one, I can do this, but two, also that I needed somebody on site too, because we were growing at such a fast pace, because everybody is literally like a bug to a light, right? It was like, oh my God, that culture is amazing. I've never seen that in this space. And Abby, like having you just to kind of put all the puzzle pieces together for me, one, so I didn't give the farm away, but also two, because of just learning how to love people differently, because the love language and Enneagram test is just to know that everybody needs love and sees things differently. There still has to be rules and guidelines and things like that. But once you get them rocking and rolling where they feel so heard and they feel so valued, oh my gosh, like everybody comes to work, everybody's excited, like, and everybody's just jiving. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that you talked about Asana and your organization, making sure everyone was in the feedback loop. That was something that was hard to get some buy-in for, but it is so valuable just having that communication. Because like you said, communication is truly key in creating culture and collaboration in your med spa and making sure everyone feels heard and valued. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to this or on value or anything else?
I would just say that use your resources. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you need help, reach out for it, like I did with you. Because you can't do everything. We are super women and supermen, if there's any supermen on here. But we are super in this aesthetic space, but patients do take your energy. And so if you find something that you're not really good at, have somebody else that can help you do it for you, and then they will hold on to that culture. They will appreciate the culture, and then they can help you find your tribe. And that's what it's about in life, right? We weren't made to be alone.
All right, great. Well, let me wrap this up. So basically, I want to thank you so much for joining me, Alicia, and everyone else for exploring our med spa's culture. Remember, that is a vital part of watering your garden and contributing to your growth and beauty is developing a strong culture of commitment, loyalty, and growth. And we'll continue to do that. And we can all thrive to make this journey remarkable. If you love this training, make sure that you share it with your team or other med spas that can benefit. You can catch the replay on our YouTube channel and get access to free training that will grow your med spa. Visit our link tree in our social bio, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday at 2:30 Central Time, same place. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn.